There is more to the story with the Gemini full moon squaring Neptune, and something tells me that with Mercury stationing direct on that very same day, the truth may be revealed. Hi all, my name is Haley Comet. Welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet, and welcome to your Magic Monday astrological horoscope. Today we're discussing the cosmic happenings from December 9th to December 15th, 2024, told through a co-creative lens so that you feel empowered and inspired to work with these cycles and rhythms rather than fighting against them. Trust me, you don't need to fight against this astrology. With Mars retrograde, there is a lot within the cosmic rhythms currently that could make you feel like you are swimming upstream. Things could feel a little wonky and a little off right now. And sometimes it's helpful to tune into the cosmic story in order to feel inspired around how it is that you want to grab hold of these energies, but also to feel validated around, okay, I'm not losing my mind. There's a reason why it's been a little wonky. There's a reason why I'm feeling so drained, depleted, and defeated. And to that I say, yes, there is a reason. And the reason is that we have Mars retrograde. And with Mars retrograde, this could be a time in which we're feeling a little spiky. We could be feeling a little bit more irritated. We could be feeling a little bit more impatient. We could be in a little bit more of a battle with ourselves. And Mars is the planet of conflict. The energy of retrograde turns it inward. So we could be beating ourselves up a bit more, feeling more drained, craving more rest, not working out as much, but then adding insult to injury, beating ourselves up for resting, for napping, for not going to the gym. And you can also find, just as you navigate with the general public, as you deal with customers at work, as you deal with your coworkers, people could be a little sassier. There could be some more tense dynamics at play. People could be trying to race you on the freeway or fight with you at the checkout line that you're just like, what did I do to you? And again, if people do try to wage a battle with you, it's simply indicative of the battle that they are fighting within themselves. Again, with Mars retrograde, it could be a time in which inflammations and irritations can be bothering us to a deeper level, and we could be feeling inclined to want to take that out on others, and maybe even having misplaced anger. And I highlight that this week because Mars will oppose Venus this week. So some of you could have your romantic partner picking fights with you. You could have drama within your friendship groups with Venus being in Aquarius. You can experience more conflict as it relates to your workplace, your organization. And it's so vitally important with Mars retrograde to keep top of mind that we have less energy to expend at this time, and not everything warrants a reaction from us. We do not need to fight this person at the checkout line. We do not need to race this person on the freeway. We do not need to get involved within this drama within our workplace or within our friendship group. This is a week to let things settle. As much as things could come up that do get under your skin, that do irritate you, it's important not to be impulsive, to strive to respond from a thoughtful way rather than react in this very knee-jerk or reactive way. So it's important this week to let things settle. And I say that because this Sunday we have a full moon. So not only do we have this tension of Venus opposite Mars where we could be more inclined to want to fight people or feel more frustrated, but we also have major emotions building this week. As that full moon gets bigger and bigger in the sky above you, just expect your own emotions as well as the emotions of other people to swell alongside of it. And when it comes to this particular full moon, it lands in the sign Gemini. One thing about Gemini is Gemini likes to talk. And so likes to talk. So a lot of people could be talking. There could be information coming to the surface. But with this full moon squaring Neptune, not every piece of information that's surfacing currently is to be believed. Because Neptune is the planet of illusion and confusion. And so there could be certain information that's being presented to us, whether it's news or a piece of gossip or some drama that's going around the workplace or something of that nature, where certain information is revealed and certain information is concealed in order to sway us in a particular way. You know, a shadow side of Gemini full moon square Neptune would be kind of like con artist energy. Don't worry, we're not being scammed this week. But that's where it's important to have that moment to let things settle. before you fight back with people, before you clap back at people, before you get involved in these petty workplace dramas, to really allow things to settle, because there might be more to the story that is yet to be revealed. There may be more than meets the eye than what is being told right now or what is being perceived right now. Because on that very same day, December 15th, the ruler of said full moon stations direct. So that's the good news about this week's astrology, is that Mercury retrograde does come to an end this Sunday. And with Mercury direct, it's important to know that this will ease up the fogginess, the forgetfulness, the technical difficulties, the miscommunications that we could have been experiencing during Mercury retrograde. But there can be more information that's yet to be revealed. So it's important not to lash out or not to react, to let things settle. You know, Neptune is very watery. So I always think of Neptune energy alive in the cosmos as this need to let things settle. If you were to see to the bottom of the pond, you wouldn't thrash your arms around to try to move the water out of the way in order to see to the bottom. You would wait for the waves to settle and allow yourself to see clarity once the water is still. And there could be certain things that are a little hard on the ego. You know, we've got Mars retrograde in Leo. There could be certain gossip that you hear about yourself that makes you feel more inclined to want to protect yourself or defend yourself around, no, you've got it all wrong. Here's the truth about it. No, you've got it all wrong. Let me tell you what I'm really about. You could also find that it's less so about fighting with people at the checkout line or at work. You could be waging these unnecessary competitions with people within your life, looking to see what your competitors are doing, looking to see what your ex's new person is doing to try to prove to yourself that you are better with Mars and Leo. But the moment that you compete, you lose, is really the energy here. And it's not to say that you are not more successful than your competitors' businesses. It's not to say that you are not hotter with better music taste and a cooler personality and more friends than your ex's new person. It's not to say that necessarily. It's just saying when we try to compete with one another, we lose. Like, let Mars retrograde be your reminder at this time that you are your own competition. Do not put yourself in these artificial competitions with other people. We simply don't have the energy to expend around comparing and competing with other people. Stay focused on your own race. Stay focused on being your best. With Mars retrograde, we have less energy to expend, so we need to reserve it for what is sacred. And these petty arguments, these trolls in your comments, your ex's new person, your competitors within your industry, they do not deserve your precious energy. If there is information that's presented this week, because there's more than meets the eye, with Gemini full moon squaring Neptune, this could be the energy around, stalking your ex's new person and being like, wow, it's so perfect. They look so happy. With the square to Neptune, it's a little bit of a sleight of hand. It's like wanting you to see what's presented, but there's a whole story beneath the surface that's not wanting to be presented. Same goes with stalking your competitors. Same goes with even people trying to get you on their side within friendship conflicts or family conflicts or workplace conflicts. Do you have all the information at your disposal? Is there a vested interest within the people delivering you certain information? We need that beat to let things settle, to find that out before you find yourself in the midst of a messy battle at work or in the midst of stalking your ex's new person and now you feel defeated and bad about yourself because you're believing what it is that they are projecting on their social media, or looking to your competitors' Instagram being like, how will I ever be as successful? Unfortunately, information can be skewed, it could be filtered, it could be photoshopped, it could be embellished, and there's just an energy this week where it's like seeing is not necessarily believing. Hearing is not necessarily believing. There's an energy of this Gemini full moon that's a bit like telephone. If you ever played telephone when you were younger, the game of telephone is when somebody has a message and they whisper it within the next person's ear and the next person's ear and the next person's ear. And oftentimes to the final recipient, the message has been jumbled considerably because it's gone through so many different messengers. So even if there's not nefarious matters taking place of competition and jealousy and drama, it could also just be a theme around information is being skewed, or there's more to the story, or there's a misunderstanding of some sort. Let things settle. We've got Mercury retrograde, be intentional with your words, and we've got Mars retrograde, be intentional with your energy. Not everything, not everyone is a wise usage of your energy. So we will dive so much deeper into these astrological energies, as well as Sun trine Chiron, Mercury sextile Venus. There's so much to discuss, and we're gonna need some caffeine to discuss it, or at least I personally am going to need some caffeine to discuss it, because this Mars retrograde, y'all. Are you guys feeling it already? Are you feeling more drained and depleted and defeated? And are you taking this cue to rest and conserve your energy? Or are you like me, propping yourself up with a cup of coffee and a dream? I would love to know. I know I filmed an entire video all about Mars retrograde, all about the do's and don'ts, and I was saying, listen to your body, go slow, try not to add more on your plate. I need to go back and listen to that video because I have just been so not taking my own advice or the overall guidelines for Mars retrograde. I'm a big believer that oftentimes we teach what we need to learn, or we share what we are the most seeking to integrate within ourselves. I've had conversations with friends where we're talking about what's happening within my world and what I'm going through, and they will literally tell me, girl, did you watch Magic Monday this week? I know you filmed it and you edited it, but did you watch it? Like, you went on a whole tangent on this very topic. That's something that you really need to hear. But all of that to say, Mars retrograde has been Mars retrograding, okay, within my world. So I'm drinking my go-to, my favorite. I'm so proud to report that I am finally a regular somewhere. I don't know why. I always wanted to be a regular somewhere. Like, I always wanted to have a place that I could go to where they knew me, they knew my order, and that's finally the case with the coffee shop that I got this from. I walk in and she'll be like, iced Americano, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of oat milk, and it just makes my heart so happy. Today it was freezing, but I just didn't have it in me to tell her no when I walked in, and she was like, iced Americano, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of oat milk. I know she doesn't really care. Like, she would just want me to have the coffee that I was the happiest with. But to me, I just felt so validated. I felt so seen that she knows my order by heart that I was like, yeah, you can make me whatever you want. My hands were literally freezing, but I don't care because I felt seen. I felt validated, and that was warmth enough for me. And the coffee itself is delightful, as it always is. So let me know what you are sipping on to start your week, and let's go ahead and take it into Vibe Check of the Week. So welcome to Vibe Check of the Week. This is a segment on Magic Monday in which we compare all of the astrology that we will experience this week and every week and compare it to a real life scenario. I know a lot of you speak astrology just like me, but this is essentially translating astrology into real life speak. A lot of times we don't always have that immediate clarity around what our week will have in store when Mercury is sextiling Venus and Mercury is stationing direct, and we have a full moon squaring Neptune, and we have a full moon squaring Neptune. A lot of us could be like, well, what does this mean for the meeting that I have this week and the holiday shopping that I have to do? We essentially compare what this energy indicates astrologically to a real life scenario. I'm not saying that this exact situation will play out within your world, but when you tune into the themes, the dynamics, the emotions, the overall vibe, you may see that some do surface within your universe. So in this week's vibe check, we will say that you are part of a big friendship group. And you're not besties with everybody in the group, but all of you like to come together. You have mutual shared interests. You guys like to have fun together. And typically the group is pretty drama-free. Now, one of the people that you are closer to within the group, Casey, does have a lot of issues with another person in the group. We'll call this person Augustina. And when Casey comes to you with her complaints about Augustina, they don't seem particularly valid. It really seems like Casey is just looking for an excuse to not like Augustina. Because if she came to you and Augustina was genuinely doing some messed up stuff, like, you would definitely be on Casey's side. You're definitely closer with Casey. But a lot of the complaints that Casey comes to you with Augustina, you're like, girl, Augustina seems like your BEC. If you are not familiar with BEC, it is a term, bee eating crackers. It basically means someone who irritates you with everything they do. They could do something as innocuous as just eating crackers and you'll find an issue with it because you just don't like this person. And that's what Casey is giving. So when Casey's complaining to you that Augustina was wearing all white when you guys were all ice skating, and who does she think she is? Does she think she's a professional figure skater? And you're like, Augustina looked cute. Like, what did Augustina do to you? Why do you have such a vendetta against Augustina? And Casey says, well, you wouldn't like Augustina either if you knew what she says about you when you're not around. And you are already feeling overwhelmed. You have a lot on your plate and not a lot of energy to handle it all. You know, with Mars retrograde, a lot of us can just be feeling like we're swimming upstream. Life can feel really hard right now. And so in hearing this, you question, you're like, do I even have the energy to hear this? Like, do I even want this information within my brain? Like, I'm cool with Augustina. We're not that close. Like, do I care what she's saying about me? But the nosy, curious part of yourself wins out. So you ask Casey, well, what did she say? Keep in mind, the nosy, curious part of ourselves might win out for a lot of us this week because we have a full moon in Gemini. I mean, can't get more nosy and curious than that. And so Casey tells you that Augustina has been going around telling everyone who will listen how you are spoiled and out of touch. And when it comes to vibe check, you're always welcome to customize it to make it more relevant and applicable to your world, because some of you, if you were to hear that somebody was saying that about you, that wouldn't affect you. You might be like, hell yeah, I'm glad I'm giving a vibe that I'm like spoiled. I guess I'm emanating a rich aura. Like, hell yeah. Some of you would just be like, well, that's not true at all, so I just wouldn't even care. So I want you to sub in something that would bother you if you heard it about yourself, because there's a lot of information. If we hear rumors about ourselves, gossip about ourselves, drama about ourselves, you know, hate comments about ourselves, there's a lot of it that we'll just laugh at it because it's so not true, it's so not real that we don't take it too personally. But there's certain information that gets under our skin and irritates us, that we feel more inclined that we want to defend ourselves. And we'll say within the vibe check, that's the case, hearing that. Because people have assumed that about you before, and you know how false that information is. And so every part of you wants to call up Augustina right now and scream at her for dare assuming something like that about you. And you know how hard it is that you work. You know that nothing within your life was handed to you. And so it does bother you when people say that about you and you've heard it before. Because again, there's so many things that people can tell us, and there's certain things that just get under our skin and bother us. And you want to defend yourself to Augustina, and you want to defend yourself to Augustina. You want to defend yourself. And that's the learning opportunity that can come about when you read a hate comment that bothers you. Like you, if you are on social media, you read so many crazy comments about yourself. Most of them don't affect you, and there will just be one every so often that's like, ouch. And the reasoning why is different. Sometimes it's around, this is so false and it bothers me that people assume this about me. Sometimes it hurts because it is a sensitive part of what it is that we've gone through, and it sort of picks at that scab that exists within us. And sometimes there's even an energetic around wanting to defend ourselves to this person because we want to prove it to ourselves as well, that we're not even confident within our own truth. When we know who it is that we are, a lot of times we can respond to gossip or rumors about ourselves around, that's not true, that's not my morals, that's not my heart, that's not my values, that's not my integrity. And a lot of times when we feel like we have to defend ourselves, when we feel like we have to clap back, when we feel like we need to prove ourselves, it's a unhealed part of us, or it's a triggered part of ourselves. And that's where the learning opportunity comes up, to contemplate, oh, why did this information bother me so much? Why does it bother me so much when people assume that I am spoiled or out of touch? Feel free to sub in whatever information kind of gets under your skin when people assume that around you. And so we will say in this week's vibe check that every part of you wants to drive to Augustina's house and give her a piece of your mind. In her all-white skating outfit, you want to tell her exactly how you were brought up. You want to defend yourself. You want to clap back for her dare assuming that about you. You get very triggered when this information comes in. You want to defend yourself right away. But instead, you choose to let the information settle. You choose to contemplate, wow, where did this trigger me so much? Why does this rumor trigger me so much? Or why does this assumption trigger me so deeply? And so you sit with that and you contemplate. Because with Mercury retrograde, it is an important time to really be intentional with our words. With Mars retrograde, really being intentional with our energy. Yeah, I could drive over to Augustina's house and curse her out, but I already have so much work to handle and I have so much on my plate. Like, do I want to get involved in this drama at a time like this? So you choose to let things settle. And with the energy of the Gemini full moon squaring Neptune, I'm not saying that everybody is lying this week, but keep in mind the source that it's coming from. Casey, who has a vested dislike of Augustina. Augustina is Casey's BEC. Everything Augustina does bothers Casey, from the all-white skating outfit, which you thought she looked adorable in, to the way that she chews. She even talked down to what Augustina put on her vision board during your guys' vision board party. Augustina could sneeze and Casey would have a problem with it. That's why you can't take things personally when people misunderstand you. Augustina's just wearing white and putting Porsches on her vision board. Like, she's just living her life, and Casey has a problem with it. And there might be ways that you live your life that people just have a problem with it. Like, you might be somebody's BEC and you're just eating crackers. They're delicious. And people have a problem with it. And there are people who are committed to misunderstanding us. So when you go out and you feel like you need to defend yourself and you need to validate how you were brought up and how hard you work and prove all this stuff to all of these people, it'll be a losing battle. Like, you don't have the energy for it, firstly, with Mars retrograde, but secondly, people will have an issue with you no matter what you do. There are some people out there who really will. And the fact of the matter is, you know who it is that you are. So you don't need to over-explain. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to write the narrative. If people are looking for a reason to dislike you, they will either skew the information that they have available to you, they'll project things onto you, they will be committed in their mission to not liking you. So you don't need to expend your precious energy seeking to defend yourself. Sometimes non-action can be just as powerful as action. Sometimes silence can be more powerful than words because you allow things to settle. You allow more information to be revealed. You allow intentions to be revealed. You allow your true emotions on the matter to be revealed. And with the energy of retrograde, it's a time to really review. And so we'll say that when you bring up this conversation to Augustina in a time that you do feel more calm-headed, you feel more level-headed, you find that Augustina tells you, no, that was completely blown out of proportion. All I said is that I admire that you have a partner who dotes on you and that I love how bougie your taste is. And Casey heard that, skewed it in that weird game of telephone, and told you that Augustina thinks you're spoiled and out of touch. Again, seeing is not believing. And whether it's gossip about you, gossip about someone else, that people is telling you to get you involved in a certain drama, fight that your partner wants to pick with you because of something that you said, because something that you didn't said, because they're devoted to misunderstanding you on this particular issue, there's just an ask to let things settle. Let things be revealed. Mercury does station direct this week, but it happens on Sunday. So there's more to the story. Allow more to the story to come out before you jump to the conclusion and get involved in a conflict that, to be quite honest, we simply don't have the energy for. Nor all of the information to really fight this battle. We'll give so much more nuance to this vibe check within our day-by-day analysis. I want to just let you know that I am located in California, so please adjust your time zone to PST, as many of the energies that I detail will land at a different time and even a different day for you based on where in the world you are watching your forecast in. I also want to let you know that I have timestamps below should you feel called to jump to a particular day, jump back to a particular day. There is a playback speed here on YouTube where you're able to slow me down, you're able to speed me up. I'm also so excited to announce that my 12 Days of Cosmos series is happening, 2025 edition. What that means for you is that I'm taking every single sign through the major 2025 astrological events and how it is that you can co-create with these cosmic cycles and rhythms. I would recommend listening to your ascendant sign forecast. That will be the most accurate snapshot of the year that you are stepping into. To a lesser degree, you're welcome to listen to your sun sign. Additionally, I use solar houses within my practice, so you might find some additional messages within your sun sign forecast as well. And if you're looking at the playlist and you're like, Haley Comet, you haven't done my sign yet, I will be posting every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the month of December until all 12 Days of Cosmos are live. So make sure to keep your eye on that. So this forecast is going out on Sunday the 8th. Cancer will be posted on Monday, December 9th. Leo will be posted on Wednesday. Virgo will be posted on Friday, so on and so forth until we're all the way through the zodiac. So make sure to check that out. It's my holiday gift from my heart to yours. But without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into the astrology for Monday, December 9th. The way that I have been saying in this forecast to not be irritated or to try not to be irritated, and my camera is bothering me so much because it keeps focusing on my succulent that I've decorated with ornaments. to get us into the holiday spirit. I can't fit a tree, so I worked with what I could. But my camera must like it as well because it keeps focusing on it instead of me. And it's kind of bothering me. So you could find that as you navigate the week, there could just be certain things that are just like, ooh, this is bothersome, this is annoying. But let's go ahead and take it into the astrology for Monday, December 9th. Rant over, okay? Camera, focus on me. Hello, hi, okay. So on Monday, the moon aligns with Neptune a little after midnight. And so this could have really enlivened your dream space. You could have very, very vivid dreams. Because friendly reminder from your astrologer here in the Cosmic Corner, I know it, you've heard me say it all Mercury retrograde long, but this can be a time that we are more thoughtful about our past. We're a little bit more sentimental. We're a little bit more nostalgic. And one thing that the Pisces moon is going to do is it's going to romanticize, especially by Neptune. And this can be beautiful when we romanticize our present. Like, it's not just a Monday, it's a chilly Monday where you're pouring your coffee and you put in some peppermint creamer and you're looking out at the snow and you're playing nice music. Like, looking and trying to find those ways that you can romanticize this season of your life. Even if the season is winter, and if you're like me and this is just not your time to thrive, you're not feeling it, it's too cold, you have the winter uglies, like all of that, you have the winter uglies, all of that. See where it is that you can romanticize it. See where it is that you can romanticize the little things, where you could put ornaments on your succulent, right? Where you can put peppermint creamer in your coffee, even if you don't live where there's snow, where it is that you can wear fuzzy scarves and find ways to romanticize the little things. So rarely in life is it about these big life things. It's really around the ways that we find the magic within the mundane. So deeply encourage you to utilize this Moon Neptune energy to romanticize your day, romanticize the little things, and strive not to romanticize the past, because with Moon Neptune, this could be an energy where your mind is running away from you. You are going through a sepia toned montage within your head of you and your ex holding hands running on the beach, and you're romanticizing the time that you guys shared together and how they're your soulmate. Like, there just could be a need to like really ground within the now. Again, sometimes Moon Neptune can be helpful for inspiration, for spirituality, but also deeply important to be here now. Okay, rip yourself from the sepia filtered montage to be here now. And even if you're not, thinking about past partners, you could find that you might dream of them. Moon Neptune can just make for interesting dreams altogether. Contemplate what messages could be coming out via your dreams. And just because you dream of someone, just because you hear from someone, just because you run into someone from your past, it's not really about them. With Mercury retrograde, Mars retrograde, look inward. Why does this bother me? Why do I feel like I have to compete with this person? Mercury retrograde, what information can I get to the bottom of? What does this reveal about myself, my own truth? Why does this feel incongruent with my own personal truth? Be in that space of reflection, because that's where we grow. But that energy lands a little after midnight, and then the moon is void until it enters Aries at 5:38 a.m. So this gets you out of the sleepy, sensitive Pisces moon on Neptune energy, where you could have been, going through that montage with your ex in your mind, or romanticizing the last season of your life without being present in this one, or being super emotional and not being certain why. Then the energy of the Aries moon, you could just be like, all right, I had my cry, let me get back to business. Or, oh, I had this dream about my ex, let me handle what I need to handle. Or I'm just kind of over myself, victimizing myself, let me go handle my day. Nice thing about this is that you should start your day on a little bit more of an energized note, though the moon is answering to Mars, who is retrograde. So, work with those nudges of motivation as they come, and see where it is that you can remain light with life and not take yourself so seriously. Mercury retrograde can be a little bit of this trickster energy. So sometimes things are just not going according to plan. There's snafus, there's issues. A lot of us can feel stressed and overwhelmed and have a lot of our mind. A lot of us can feel very blah. Have ways to inject your days with a little bit of humor, with a little bit of levity. Try not to take yourself so seriously. Because again, when we take ourselves so seriously, a lot of times that comes from ego. And that's where we want to defend ourselves and prove other people wrong and expend our precious energy around writing the narrative. If we don't take it so seriously, we're like, yeah, I'm spoiled, I'm out of touch, okay, whatever. I don't care. I don't need your validation. And so with the energy of Aries moon, it just asks, even if it's not in relation to that story, just see where you could have a little bit of fun, inject some humor and some levity into your day-to-day. That's how I navigate life, especially when the astrology is astrologying as it is right now. It's felt so wonky. It's felt really hard. We just had those Saturn squares last week. Make sure to get caught up on last week's Magic Monday to learn more about that. Like, it's been a lot. And the best way that I've personally been coping, and I would love to know how you guys are coping, is just laughing. Finding excuses to laugh at life, laugh at myself. And so with the Aries moon, we can find that we're more inclined to go after some sort of challenge, to try something new, to have a little bit of fun. See where it is that you can have fun with things or inject a little bit of lightness or something of that nature. The Aries moon will sextile Pluto, sextile Venus. Keep in mind, Venus and Pluto are still pretty much aligned in the cosmos, which can be presenting some intensity or even jealousy, especially around lovers and things of that nature. And again, especially with the Aries moon going on to trine Mars and Leo, even trining Mercury and Sagittarius today. Be very mindful with who it is that you are putting yourself in competition with. Whether it's internet stalking your ex's new partner, or internet stalking your partner's ex, or internet stalking a competitor, a frenemy, something of that nature. You are using your valuable currency and giving it to these people. Truly, that is what you are doing. I don't care if it's online. I don't care if it's digital. I don't care if you're like, oh, just 5 minutes. It's just checking their story. It's just doing this. You're giving them energy and you're putting yourself in this artificial competition with this person, which honestly just inflames you more. And likely you're going to these sources hoping that it'll give you a sense of confidence around proving, yeah, I need to show. And a lot of times we look to that and put ourselves in these competitions because we want to prove something. Again, be mindful this week and in life when you feel that desire that you need to prove something. Because if you know who it is that you are, you don't need to prove it to anybody. And when you're looking to these outer sources, even if part of the information, the data, the Instagram stories and things of that nature is painful for you to take in, there's an ego part of you that wants to prove that you are better, that you are cooler, that you are hotter. And maybe you will get that data. You'll be like, yeah, they don't look as happy as my ex was with me. Or you'll look at your partner's ex and be like, yeah, see, I am better looking than that person. That'll work for a moment. And then it'll fade once again and you'll need another hit and you'll need another hit because it's not grounded confidence. It's from these outer sources chasing this validation, which will never fuel you and will keep you in these hollow, empty competitions with people that you do not need to compete with. You distill your energy when you're worried about what this person's doing and this person's doing. You're the most magnetic when you're detached, when you really do not care because there's no you. You're not in competition with anyone. Let Venus in Aquarius be your reminder of that. Your essence, your magic, yourself, that can't be replicated. This person being hot doesn't take away from your hotness. This person having a great taste of music doesn't take away from your having a great taste of music. And being so worried around that really like validates this almost scarcity energy around if this person wins, then I might lose. If my ex is happier with this person, this means that I'll never be loved again. Or if my partner's ex looks better than me, then that means my relationship is on unsteady territory. Again, it's going to these sources, maybe feeling a sense of confidence, maybe feeling a sense of lack, but it's never enough. Our ego is consistently hungry, and that's why it's so important to build our confidence on something real, on knowing who it is that you are, on knowing the potency of who it is that you are, the magic that you are. Because if you were in like some sort of third party situation where someone put you in competition with someone else, like there was another woman, there was another man, what have you. Some people thrive off that validation of having two people fight over them. Like that feeds their ego. They love that. Your precious energy is being used to boost up these people's ego because you are worried about them and checking up on them and in competition with them, trying to do things for them. Disengage. If anybody tries to put you in competition with someone else, get out of the competition. You're in competition with no one. Yourself. Mars retrograde. Yourself. You're in competition with yourself. There is no you. And you lose when you try to compete on these hollow, empty metrics to boost up some lame person's ego who's just going to need another hit. Because that's the thing, these hollow senses of validation around I'm so hot, I'm so this, it lasts for a millisecond until you need another hit. You need another hit. I need to feel validated again. It'll never be enough. You've got to find that from within. You are in competition with no one. And so if you have had some of these digital habits, listen, with Venus, Pluto, Moon, Neptune, I feel like some people might have went down that this weekend. Like, just know it's a new week, it's a new start. A lot of these tendencies could be addictive. It could be like part of our day. And again, like I was talking about last week, we have $100 to spend of our energy every single day. Do you want to give $3 of your precious energy to your partner's ex? Do you want to give $3 of your precious dollars to your ex's new partner? Do you want to give $3 of your precious energy that could be used for your creative expression, for your making money, for your happiness, for your fitness, to worrying about your competition? No. No. And it's like, when that has happened, when people have put me in competition or made me feel like I had to compete for their affection or for their attention, you build resentment for this person, where I'm like genuinely thinking back to the people that I was in like competition with. I was like, they seem really cool. And I hate that I had this like bitter, resentful energy towards them because this lame person made me feel like this was my nemesis. This was not my nemesis. They were not my enemy. They were another poor, unfortunate soul stuck in the throes of that person. Dear God, help us all. I hope she got out, because I got out. But if you were to ask me at that time, I had so much bitterness. I was so resentful for this person. I was so competitive with this person. And there was times that my ego was so filled when I felt like I was winning. But even when I was winning, I was losing because I was feeling like I had to compete with this person. Anyways, okay, where am I? Let's reel it in. Let's reel it in. Outside of that, try not to expend your precious energy towards your competitors, towards your nemesis, because a lot of times we're in these invisible battles with people who are really not the enemy. And even if there is someone where you are rightfully mad about something, like someone is spreading gossip about you, someone is doing shady things. There have been people who have done shady things to you. With the energy of Mars retrograde, it's just recognizing how powerful it is around not giving them a response, not giving them energy, giving them silence. Like I said, non-action can be a way of taking action. Silence can be the most powerful thing that you could speak sometimes, because in that space you get clarity and you get to proceed in a very grounded way, not a very like triggered, sudden lash out sort of way, but a grounded way, one that's in integrity with who you are. So outside of that very random, very specific storyline that likely does not apply to everybody, I just want to let you know that on Monday we have this fiery grand trine linking the Aries moon, Mars in Leo, and Mercury in Sagittarius. So this can be a time that you are having helpful conversations, whether it's with other people or also just with yourself. Journaling, listening to a podcast that hits, listening to a YouTube video that hits, having a light bulb moment of something that hits that gives you confidence. I mean, it's a fiery grand trine. It's building your confidence from a grounded source, not in competition. Because again, that will puff up your ego for a short time around, yeah, I'm better, I make more money, I got more likes. That lasts for a millisecond. It never lasts. And it's not real confidence because you're contingent upon these outer sources that not only fade, but they are not guaranteed. They are not promised. Those circumstances can change in a day. And if your confidence and your sense of self are contingent upon them, that will vanish as soon as those things do. And so it's building confidence in yourself and the things that can't be taken from you. Your knowledge, your education, your integrity, your values, your character, your work ethic, your faith, your prayers. It's building confidence from those arenas of your life and not about these external sources that'll keep you hungry and chasing and still feeling hollow and ungrounded within yourself, still feeling like you need to check on what other people are doing so that you feel more important, so that you feel better, so that you feel like you won. And I would definitely say in the afternoon time with the Aries moon, trine Mars and Leo, take a yoga class, get in a hot yoga class, take a bath, get physical with it. I know that wintertime and when it's cold, we just want to like do nothing. And with Mars retrograde, like I said, definitely honor if you are craving more rest and wanting to conserve your energy. But also with Mars and Leo, it can be very helpful in moving some energy physically, especially if you are feeling more irritated, more frustrated, more blah. Okay, this camera, honestly, hello, focus on me. Lock focus, please. It keeps focusing on the plant. Cool. Okay. Anyways, on Tuesday, December 10th, the Sagittarius sun will trine Chiron in Aries. This lands at 9:49 a.m. And this was the energy within the vibe check around your decision that you don't need to prove yourself to Augustina. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. And yes, there was part of you that was triggered. That's the nature of Chiron, is our pain, is our triggers. But you know who it is that you are. You know your truth with the energy of Sagittarius sun. And you don't need to defend yourself to anyone because you know who it is that you are. God knows who it is that you are. The universe knows who it is that you are. And when you know that and you're grounded in that, especially if it's things that cannot be taken from you, you know, like looks fade, money can go up and down, validation is an endless chase. Like these things don't last. So when we attach our ego to them, we are putting ourselves in a losing battle. Like it'll never really be enough. I mean, certainly be proud of the vessel that you're in, be proud of the career that you've built, but things are constantly in flux and things are constantly changing, and it can be so scary if we've defined our identity and our confidence around a relationship or around a certain financial status or around our career or around how we look. And then to feel those things change, it can make us feel very unsteady, ungrounded within who it is that we are. It's setting ourselves up on a very unhealthy trajectory. To have our confidence completely boosted around these things, or popularity, other people's opinions of us, things of that nature. So at the end of the day, you need to know the truth of who it is that you are and allow that to be your confidence around your spirit, your soul, your character, your morals, the things that cannot be taken from you. And with the trine to Chiron, it's embracing your imperfections, feeling the inflammation around this rumor came your way, around what Augustino was saying. By the way, I pulled this deer because he kind of gives me sassy energy to me. He's like, what did you say about me, Augustina? What did you say to me? But yeah, so there's parts of us that are like, what did you just say, right? With Chiron energy, we're triggered. And when these energies are inflamed, when we do have this trigger, again, we can allow that triggered part of us that wants to prove, no, that's not true, and let me go through my entire life history and prove to you how hard I've worked. There's that triggered part of us that wants to protect and defend. But when we give it a moment to settle and really contemplate, why does this bother me so much? Why am I putting so much personal stock, so much ego stock into what this person is saying about me? When I know my truth, I don't need to defend that or explain that to anybody. And I don't need to expend my precious energy to doing that. There could be certain comments that come your way, you know, with the Venus opposite Mars energy, where you are feeling more inclined that you want to react, that you want to comment back, that you want to defend yourself. Like, no, you have it all wrong. You have the wrong story. And again, I want to be so clear. I'm not saying that people should be gossiping about you. I'm not saying that it's wrong that you did have a reaction or that you did feel some type of way, knowing that people are spreading things that are not true about you. But at the end of the day, you cannot go to every single person and ensure that they have the narrative of you that you want them to have. Like I said, people will be devoted to misunderstanding you, and you will waste your precious time and energy seeking to clarify and over-explain and defend yourself to all of these people. It's just simply not a wise usage of your energy when at the end of the day, you know your heart, you know your soul, you know your morals, you know your character. In this case, you know your work ethic, and that's that. It's interesting because I feel like I've been able to witness this just throughout my years on YouTube, because there's certain comments that used to really affect me quite a bit, little sensitive Pisces. And it's just interesting when you tune into the comments that bother you or the drama that you hear that bothers you versus the drama and gossip and comments that don't bother you. Because to me, during my time on YouTube, it never bothered me when people talked about my looks or my body or my astrology, because I'm just like, whatever. I don't really care. I care, but I feel grounded in those things. Like, I know the amount of time and energy that I put into my astrological study. I don't feel that I need to defend myself around that. I feel that my astrology speaks for itself. So I'm like, whatever, you can say whatever you want. Same goes with looks or body. I don't identify with that. I don't find my confidence on that. I just think of it as a fun way to play and be creative, as playing with my makeup and playing with my hair and playing with my fashion. I don't find my identity in that. Some people say mean stuff around that. I'm like, whatever. Maybe it wasn't a good look. There have been some looks on this channel that I'm like, dear God, girly girl, what were you thinking? Like, this one needs to be taken down from the internet, truly. Anyways, the comments though that bothered me the most was when people would say that I seemed like I was manic. when I got those comments, it really bothered me and it really triggered me, so much so that I would cry, I would get upset. And there was part of me that wanted to clap back and defend myself and say, you know, I'm not manic or what have you, but I'll tell you why it bothered me so much. It's not that I was offended that someone was implying that I was manic. It was this ongoing story that I've experienced in this world around being really excited about something and someone being like, you're too much, like calm down. Because to me, I love that I get excited about things. To me, I love when I'm lit up about something, when I have these different passions that I'm sharing about, or a story that I'm telling in a very animated fashion. To me, that's me. And I've just had a consistent loop throughout my life around people being like, too much, you know, like this is kind of a lot, girl, calm it down. And so to me, when I got those comments, it was just like reiterating this inner story around you're too much, you're too over the top, you're too excited. Which to me, I'm like, what a blessing that I'm excited and that I'm animated. And so I just got one of those actually really recently, and it didn't hit the same, it didn't hurt the same. And that was a milestone for me. I was like, wow, this doesn't bother me anymore because I've healed that part of me. So sometimes it's helpful to just kind of tune into what hits at us, what triggers us, what it's bringing up. And it could be like this marker around, wow, that doesn't bother me as much. Like sometimes Mercury retrograde can, yes, like drag us to the past or drag us to these familiar stories or this familiar comment to just let us know how far we've come, right? Like I think of Mercury retrograde as like an energy where you're climbing up a mountain, and Mercury retrograde is when you look back to see how far you've come. It's not about us going down the mountain. We're not at the top yet, right? It's just like looking down and be like, wow, I've came pretty far. And with Sun trine and Chiron, you've come very far on your healing journey. And so maybe there's certain triggers or things that come up that used to get a reaction out of you or used to bother you more so. But then you're realizing, wow, that doesn't hurt quite as bad. Like it's more of a dull ache now when I think about that person, or that's more of a faint memory when I think about that time of my life. Tuesday's astrology really acknowledges that. I mean, we have the Aries moon sextile Jupiter and Gemini in the morning time. So should be helpful around finding a little bit of levity, curiosity within your day. See where it is that you can laugh at yourself, laugh at life. Not take yourself so seriously, right? The moon does align with Chiron. So again, it's not to say that there's not a dull ache, that there's not a little bit of a wound, that it doesn't sting a little bit when we get certain comments where it's like, ouch, or when we hear a certain rumor about ourselves that we're like, oh, that doesn't feel the best. It's not to say that we ever hear that we jump and scream and say yippee, but it's this energy around like honoring how far that we've come. It might hurt a little bit, we might feel triggered a little bit, but with Mercury retrograde, we can really look inward around what is this here to teach me and show me, and how can I contemplate that within myself? Because if we feel this need to defend ourselves, explain ourselves, there will always be more comments of people who don't like us. There will always be more people talking trash about us. Like those circumstances will repeat, and it's a losing battle to try to battle against all of the people who don't like you or misunderstand you. It's setting yourself up in a losing battle, and you can't control that. So it's getting to what you can control with it, which is yourself, and like really looking inward around why does this bother me so much, and how can I really connect to the inner child version of myself who's so wounded by this, or the unhealed part of myself that hasn't fully integrated this part of myself. Like getting to that. That's also a mark of healing, is when you can be grateful for harsh circumstances because of the path that it sent you on. Because it's not to say that there's ever a time that you look at your, your divorce or your friendship breakup or your job loss or something in nature around, yay, that was so great, because it's painful, it's grief, it's a lot to navigate. But it is a marker of healing when you could be like, that was hell to go through, but I'm so grateful, because if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have, turned to my relationship with God. If that hadn't gone through, I wouldn't know how strong it was. If I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't have this utmost clarity around my creative path that I want to create. It's not saying that what happened is okay, but it's just seeing that you really turned that pain into power. Because a lot of times that is a huge catalyst for our growth, is the times that we go through something really trying and go through something really painful. And it's so powerful when you can find gratitude for it, not validating that it should have happened, that it was right to happen, but seeing, wow, that did send me on a particular path, and I'm grateful that it opened these particular wounds within me or sent me on a certain path to heal these core stories within me. Because sometimes they're just experiences, again, just with the comments too. There's so many people we can encounter and they don't trigger us, they don't get to us. And there's certain people where they just rip open a scab of something that we've worked towards. And it's so painful because it reopens all of this very raw, primal hurt within us. And we constantly go back to that person or similar people like that, whether it's, caretakers, lovers, whatever it is, similar dynamics that incite and inflame those same parts of us because we think that's where healing will be. We're like, this is what caused the hurt, so this is what's going to heal me. If I get the positive outcome that I'm looking for here, then I'll be healed. But the source that inflicted the pain will not be the source that heals you. It just won't. And oftentimes that's what we look to because we think healing is there. So we go back or we look for familiarity, even if it's chaotic, rather than recognizing this was opened up for a reason so I can really love and pour into this part of myself and maybe free myself from a dynamic of being drawn to people like this or dynamics like this, thinking that's where healing is. That's not where healing is. And maybe with Sagittarius Sun trine Chiron, it's like that pain around being abandoned, rejected, hurt, sends you on a path to find your own answers, to find your own wisdom. And it's not to say that a Chironian kind of day, with the moon aligning with Chiron, it won't just be like butterflies and rainbows for everyone, but there is a certain trigger that comes up. Really see what your emotions are here to show you and reveal to you, rather than allowing yourself to react on them impulsively. Why is anger here? Why is defensiveness here? Why is sadness here? Really allowing yourself to hold space for what comes up without judgment, right? Trying not to judge yourself for where it is that you are in your healing journey, for feeling like you should be further than you are. Again, with Mars retrograde, don't be your own worst enemy. Don't beat yourself up. You are where you are. Be grateful for where it is that you are, but know that there's more to where it is that you're going. And the Aries moon will trine the Sagittarius sun at 2:13 p.m., at which point the moon is void. So it might be a really lovely afternoon to go on some sort of adventure, for a challenge, get physical with it, like I said, with all of this fiery energy. On Wednesday, December 11th, do you want the good news or the bad news first? The good news is that the moon is transiting its sign of exaltation, Taurus, all day long, which should bring a degree of sensuality, of steadiness. The bad news is that the exalted moon is a little stressed. So the moon enters Taurus at 7:55 a.m. and then it is greeted by a square to Pluto. And like I said, with Venus aligning with Pluto over the weekend, which could have led to power struggles, jealousy, lovers' quarrels, things of that nature. Venus opposes Mars early tomorrow, so we're going to feel that tension building. And with the energy of Taurus moon squaring Pluto, there could be this energy of stubbornness or wanting to have it our way, wanting to win this and have it our way, wanting to prove something. Fight to the death on something where it's like, do you even want that prize? Do you even want that prize? A lot of times we make certain people's validation or certain successful metrics, we make it mean more than it actually does because of what we've built it up to be. And with the square to Pluto, wanting it at all costs, no matter how it is that I need to protect myself, defend myself, compete with this other person for your attention, or prove to you that I'm the best, I'll do it because this means so much to me. But this is almost an energy where you get it and it's like, I didn't even really want it. I just wanted what I felt like it proved to me and what it proved to my ego even. And so what I would say on Wednesday is just really pick your battles. Not everything is worth it. And with the energy of Taurus moon, try to choose peace, okay? Try to choose peace. I know we've got a building full moon. It exacts this Sunday, so we can feel a little bit more emotional. With moon square Pluto, we could be feeling a little bit more frustrated, crabby, wanting it to be our way, but really seeking wherever it is that you can maintain your own peaceful little world. Picture yourself in a snow globe. Picture yourself in a snow globe. I don't know why that came to mind, but picture yourself in a snow globe where it's like, you know what, outside of the snow globe, people probably have all sorts of assumptions about me. They probably think this, that, and the third. But in my little snow globe, it's snowing, it's beautiful. I'm romanticizing winter. I'm prioritizing my peace. I'm doing the things that make me happy. It kind of reminds me of that meme, if you've seen it, where it's like, imagine talking trash about me and I'm just in my room doing this. Right? And I've seen it for all sorts of different things, different hobbies or whatnot. I'm sure with the astrology crew, it would be like, imagine talking crap about me and I'm just in my room looking at my solar return chart for 2037. Curate and create your own happy little world, your own happy little snow globe. It's not saying you need to be out of touch with what's happening within the outer world, but it's so important to build your own peaceful little land that you can retreat to every so often and just disengage from the drama and things of that nature. Because it's not even to say that every one of you is going to hear drama about yourself. There even just could be workplace spats where people are wanting you to pick a side. Like I said, your partner could be wanting you to get involved with this particular issue, be mad on something on their behalf. There could be an energy where there's drama within your friendship groups, and it's just this energy around my peace means more. My peace within my happy little snow globe means more than needing to get involved. You know, and you could be a considerate partner, you could be a compassionate friend, you could be a good coworker without getting involved. Like, some things is just not our problem, not our circus, not our monkeys. And you can hear someone out, and you can allow them to have the space to vent and feel how it is that you need to feel. But like within your happy little snow globe, you don't need that energy. You don't need Augustina in your snow globe. You don't even need Casey complaining about Augustina in your snow globe. You'll spend time and then you go back to the snow globe of your peaceful little lair. And so that evening, the Taurus moon squares Venus and Aquarius and squares Mars and Leo. They're creating a fixed T-square. So again, fixed T-square, we can feel more stubborn. We could feel like there's a lot to do and like it's not possible to get all of it done. We're being torn in many different directions and we don't have the energy to handle everything. Again, every place that you invest energy, another arena of your life is deprived of it. So if you are investing energy in internet stalking competitors, nemesises, you might not see it, but other arenas of your life suffer because that's time and energy you could have given to getting a workout in. That's time and energy you could have put towards writing a poem. That's time and energy that you could have put towards organizing your clothes and donating some that you no longer wear. Like, other arenas of your life are deprived of it. And you know, the moon's in Taurus, and sometimes we got to get through to ourselves via our finances, via our bank account. Charge yourself when you slip up, when you invest your energy somewhere that you do not want to invest it in. Whether you're trying to cut a bad habit or you're trying to stop looking at someone's social media, start charging yourself. Charge yourself $5 every time you check that social media or indulge in that bad habit. Put it in a jar so you see visually at the end of the month, dang, $130? I checked that many times. I checked that many times. And again, every time you resist, you can put that money towards things that you like and things that you enjoy. So maybe you even have some intrinsic motivation around, is it worth it to check today? Is it worth it to indulge in this bad habit today? That's $5 that I could put towards a peppermint mocha instead. It might be something to think about. You know, sometimes with Taurus moon, we gotta hit it where it counts, the wallet. So on Thursday, 12/12, at 2:46 a.m., Venus and Aquarius will oppose Mars and Leo. Here are some themes to look out for. Firstly, Venus is love. So with Venus opposite Mars, there could be this energy around feeling like we need to compete for love or advocate for love, action around love, something of that nature. These are the two passion planets, so hopefully some of us will be feeling this around a little bit more of a passionate energy, but sometimes it can show up around lovers' quarrels, whether it's placed anger or misplaced anger. And what I mean by that is sometimes we feel frustrated, we take it out on our partner or pick a fight because we just want a place to put this frustrated energy. And I would encourage you to put this Mars energy into a workout or into some sort of healthy competition. Like if you're part of an indoor soccer league or you're part of a video game group, this competitive energy can be helpful because it's not to say competition is a bad thing. It's just when you prove to your ego, I'm good and I'm successful because I'm doing better than this person, or I'm, hot because I feel like I'm hotter than this person, or what have you. It's helpful competition because it helps inspire more out of us. We're more driven. We push ourselves more, right? I'm sure many athletes can attest to that, around having people who push us to get better, to be more, to excavate more from ourselves. It could be healthy competition, right? It's just not tethering your results to, I know I'm good because I'm better than this person. It's seeking to be your own personal best. Ultimately, your own competition is you. These other people are just avenues and portals for you to dig deep into what's within, because a lot of times when we're setting our own metrics, we won't be as motivated. Now, outside of the other considerations that I've made around Venus opposite Mars, around petty drama amongst groups and friends and communities and things of that nature. I also want to highlight Venus is our money. And so I know that the holidays are coming up. A lot of us are doing holiday shopping. Be mindful around buying things impulsively right now. You know, Mercury stations direct this Sunday. There could be certain packages that are missing or things you swear you ordered and you check in your emails and it's gone. Sometimes just wacky things happen around Mercury retrograde. If you follow me on Insta, which if you don't, follow me. But I had posted a story because I dug out all my holiday decor and I swear I only had one tree, but now I have 2 trees. I have 2 mini trees. So now my office has a tree and out there has a tree, but I've never had 2 trees. So I don't know how I got the second tree. Like, I don't know. I guess that's a good Mercury retrograde thing, but it just makes you think. You're just like, huh? Like sometimes just wacky things can happen during Mercury retrograde. So you could find something beautiful with Mercury sextiling Venus later in the evening, but don't feel like you have to impulsively buy it right now. Oh my gosh, the sale's gonna go away or something in nature. Let things settle. Let things settle. My mom always taught me, and I know I say this all the time, but if you see something you like, see if you still feel the same in 48 hours. If you see a comment that infuriates you that you want to clap back to, see if you feel the same in 48 hours. If you hear a piece of tea, a piece of gossip that bothers you, see if you want to confront Augustina in 48 hours. Time can bring clarity. And we gift ourselves the opportunity to find that clarity when we choose to not take action. It's not a passive approach, it's an intentional approach. Because I'm not saying that you cannot advocate for yourself if someone does have you messed up, but it's just knowing that if you allow every single person to get a rise out of you, you will be battling all of these other people. People where it's like, do I even care what Augustina thinks about me? Do I care what user 352017 thinks about me? Maybe not. And maybe 48 hours will give me that clarity. Maybe having a little bit more of financial patience might be wise this week, as well as not getting competitive with other people. You know, whatever your industry is, someone else's win does not equate your loss. I know it makes it feel that way. And again, competition could be healthy because it drives more out of ourselves. But just knowing, like, if one astrologer is doing well on YouTube, that's actually helpful for me because that means that astrology is expanding on this platform. And of course, our ego is like, oh, I want the best metrics or I want to be the most successful. But it's like if someone in your community, if your industry is winning, that's supporting the entire industry in growing and evolving. And even if you work in something very cutthroat where you're like, no, Haley Comet, like I'm competing for business. If I get a sale, then they don't get a sale. If they get a sale, then I don't get a sale. There is no you. Again, with Venus and Aquarius, honor your eccentricity, honor your quirks. Let that be the call of the people who are meant to work with you and what it is that you are here to do. And also, if you need help neutralizing it, if you don't like to have these jealous thoughts or to feel in competition, you're like, these are my colleagues. Why do I feel so, jealous of other people in my industry? Why do I feel so weird when I see their social media posts come up of their wins? I would challenge you, Magic Monday challenge this week, to see if you can leave one positive comment on a post that just organically comes across your feed from someone within your industry or someone that you feel competitive with. Like, neutralize that energy with, sweetness. And of course, make it genuine, make it heartfelt. You don't need to be fake about it. But sometimes it just helps neutralize these like spiky, sticky emotions and helps you realize this is not my nemesis. This is like not somebody I need to have these weird, spiky feelings about. I can be supportive. A win for them does not necessarily indicate a loss for me. So that can be helpful. Like again, Aquarius is a very group-oriented energy, and with the opposite to Mars, our ego and our pride can get inflamed, and see where it is that you can neutralize it. With honey, right? Words of honey, with Mercury sextile Venus aligning that evening. So on that note, Mercury will sextile Venus at 11:45 p.m., which can be this energy around inspired ideas, sweet words, sweet nothings to your partner, sweet comment that you lead to someone else, sweet ideas. With Mercury retrograde, it can be a time of thoughtfulness, and you could be really being thoughtful around what it is that you value with the sextile to Venus, what it is that you value about your own eccentricity, about your own quirks, around your own truth, right? And being true to yourself. That's what's so empowering, is when we realize we're not in competition with these people. You feel free because then you realize all that strife and all that spikiness, like for what? Like, let me free myself from that narrative and open up more of my energy for what feels good. Like Casey, for the love of God, stop beefing with Augustina. Within the vibe check, if Casey put all of the energy that she's put into taking down, talking trash about Augustina into writing a novel, Miss Girl would have a Pulitzer by now. She would have written the next great American novel. So lunar perspective should be a grounded, hardworking, pragmatic day. Taurus moon sextile Saturn in Pisces at 5:55 a.m. Your evening might have some surprises in store with the moon aligning with Uranus. Some of you could hear from someone unexpected. Listen, Mercury retrograde sextile Venus, moon aligning with Uranus around the same time. Some of you could get an unexpected comment, unexpected message, or an unexpected revelation around someone from your past. On Friday, December 13th, Friday the 13th, Mercury and Mars retrograde. Hang in there, everyone, hang in there. So firstly, the Taurus moon sextiles Neptune at 4:39 a.m., where it is then void until it enters Gemini at 9:22 a.m. Do keep in mind we're building to a full moon, which can bring more emotions to the surface, more conversations to the surface. Again, the moon is answering to Mercury, who's retrograde. Mercury is the trickster. So that's where it gets important to laugh at ourselves, to be light with life, to find the humor in things, to not take things so seriously. We laugh so we don't cry. Listen, that's how Mercurials get through life. Having bits with yourself, finding ways to make it fun, finding ways to laugh at yourself, and just the absurdity of life. Like, life's weird. Laugh at it. The Gemini moon trines Pluto, so plug into information that empowers you. Listen to a podcast, a YouTube video, a book that ignites you. Again, a lot of times when Mars is retrograde, it's not that we are totally drained of energy. Sometimes we just need external sources to keep ourselves going. And I don't mean that in terms of, necessarily caffeine and energy drinks. Sometimes it's just like motivation, motivational speakers, podcasts, books that inspire us to keep going and rejuvenate our energy stores with Gemini moon trine Pluto. The Gemini moon sextiles Mars that evening. So it would be nice to do something fun and flirty and lighthearted in some regard. Even if you're having the winter uglies, you're not feeling it. This would be a nice weekend to, socialize, right? Have a little bit of fun. And the Gemini moon will oppose Mercury in Sagittarius. So again, we could be very much in our mind, very much in indecision, torn between head and heart, what makes sense, what feels right. And then the Gemini moon trines Venus in Aquarius at 10:49 p.m. So it would be a great evening for a nice meal, for a nicely made cocktail, for decorating your succulent with ornaments if you have one, like infusing and inviting some beauty in, inviting connection in, with this air energy. Sometimes it's just helpful to be able to vent to other people, laugh about things with other people. I called up a friend tonight and giggle about just how much these retrogrades have been, how much the astrology has been astrologying. On Saturday, December 14th, the Gemini moon will square Saturn in Pisces at 7:34 a.m. So if you had fun, if you were socializing and gabbing and giggling last night, Gemini moon square Saturn, there just could be like a rough wake-up call, whether it's by way of headache, overthinking, just having a lot on your plate and minimal motivation to do it, having a lot on your mind, being hard on yourself mentally. The vibe should lighten though by like 10:43 a.m. onward with the moon aligning with Jupiter, around wanting to move in directions that feel more freeing, optimistic, inspiring. And keep in mind, Jupiter is in its detriment, so it's not as exaggerated, it's not as emphasized. And again, sometimes it just needs a little oomph. Like, when it comes to Jupiter energy, it's not to say that every single day we're in the best mood ever and we're so inspired. Sometimes we have to decide, this is how I'm going to feel, or I'm going to listen to the music that's going to plug me into how I feel. I could listen to this radio station that I know will make me sad, and I could go over and overthink about the same situation over and over, but I'm going to choose to listen to this motivational speaker instead. I'm going to choose to get ready today because I'm going to feel better. Like, sometimes we got to give ourselves that little bit of oomph. I saw a TikTok where someone was saying, if we were in a good mood every single day, every single person would be successful. Like, what creates your own success is around showing up on the days that you're not as motivated, or that you're feeling a little wonky, but it's still showing up. And it's not even to say like monetary success, it's spiritual success, showing up and meditating, even if you're not feeling as inspired to, showing up within the gym, showing up within your passion project. Like, really, a lot of the work is just showing up. And sometimes we're feeling it, sometimes we're not feeling it, but regardless, we show up. And that can be helpful for building confidence as well as healing with the energy of Gemini moon sextile Chiron in Aries. Make your healing a practice, make it a routine, make it part of your day-to-day. Get obsessed with healing, because a lot of times we can get addicted to certain pain loops, listening to those sad songs, inflaming these parts of ourselves because we don't want to let go of the story altogether. And it's not saying you have to let go of the story. It made you who it is that you are, but it's really being intentional around getting hooked on healing and how good it feels to to have those metric checks, like I said, with the Sagittarius Sun, trining Chiron in Aries, and to acknowledge how far you've come. That can feel good. That could be addictive. Get plugged into that. And in the spirit of this Gabby Gemini full moon energy, especially lands in my 10th house, I would love to know, there's so many things that I want to talk about, and I know I talk for an hour and a half at you guys every single week, but like, for example, there's so much that I've learned this year around healing, or at least healing modalities and tools that have been so helpful, so instrumental for me. So I'd love to know, would that be something that would be interesting to you? When I go off on tangents, is that helpful for you, or would you prefer I stick to the astrology? I would love to know. So on Sunday, December 15th, the Gemini full moon exacts at 1:02 a.m. PST. It lands at 23 degrees Gemini. So you'll want to see where within your chart you have 23 degrees Gemini. I'm not referring to a placement. So when I say where you have this, I'm not saying if you have any Gemini placements. I'm saying look at your circle chart, find the Gemini glyph, see which piece of pizza that Gemini glyph is within. That is the life arena that is being spotlighted for you. And if you look at any of my old all signs, new moon and full moon forecasts, I do show you a tutorial around how to find these various territories of your chart. So check out any of those and it'll help you and guide you in a step-by-step of how to do that. But the opposition here links the Sagittarius Sun, which is the search for wisdom and the truth, with the energy of the Gemini moon, which is honoring the different perspectives, the different approaches, that there's two sides to everything. Sagittarius wants to be very devout around this is the way that it is. This is what I believe. Whereas Gemini is like, you see it this way, I see it this way. And again, sometimes when we hear these things about ourselves, drama, gossip, rumors, there could be a part of us, especially with this full moon squaring Neptune. Is this true? Is this true? And those are the comments or the rumors that really get to us, is when we've questioned that about ourselves. And it like validates this pained part of ourselves around, could this be true? And it's not saying that we're perfect, that there's not imperfections, but with the square to Neptune, it's not giving other people the power to define you and to write your own story with the energy of Gemini full moon. And with the square to Neptune, let people misunderstand, let them talk about you. Maybe you're not the one checking on people from your past in social media, they're checking on yours, right? And saying this, that, and the third about you. Let them. You know who you are. And with the energy of the Gemini full moon, it's just honoring where we are learning in life school. Like, well, life can humble us sometimes, right? Like, we can just be like, I don't know what I'm doing, but you're learning, you're alive. Where can you have fun with what it is that you're learning? Where can you not take yourself so seriously? And with the square to Neptune, I would just say this can be a very spiritual full moon around really getting messages from your spirit team, from your guides. And sometimes messages come in very mundane ways. It could come via barista, it could come via neighbor. There's wisdom to be found everywhere. You know, Sagittarius Sun can make us feel like we have to go to different lands and go on retreats and dive into leather-bound books, which certainly, you know, I'm all a fan of that. But with the energy of Gemini full moon, sometimes we can have potent messages just the way that our cousin tells us something that we're like, yeah, that has relevance to me. Or a TikTok that we come across that it's like, I needed to hear this today. Like, again, just because it comes through in these more bite-sized, accessible ways doesn't mean that there's not genuine wisdom to it. But it's always checking in to really see, is this true to my own experience? And that's the balance of Sagittarius Sun, Gemini moon, is that people talk a lot and not every TikTok is for you. Not every reading is for you. Not every rumor is true to you. So it's having that discernment around, do I want to take this on? Do I want to weave this into my own personal hero's journey? And the last piece that I want to leave you with this Gemini full moon is, when thoughts come in your head, have that moment of asking, is this mine? Is this mine? The square to Neptune can sometimes weaken our energetic boundaries. And sometimes you're not even aware that this happens. So if you get hit by a random wave of emotion or even thoughts that don't seem like your own, I know I'm going to sound a little woo-woo here, but I swear, have that moment, is this mine? Return to sender. See yourself in a protective bulb of light. Sometimes people project things onto us and it's not ours to carry. So if you get hit with a random thought attack, if you get hit with random emotions, cleanse your energy and see if it's still there, would be what I would say here. And hopefully the mercurial fog will begin to lift, because at 12:56 p.m. PST, Mercury stations direct. So we did it. We did it, guys. We got to the other side of Mercury retrograde. Now, just because Mercury's direct now doesn't mean that at 12:57 p.m. PST, I would go out and sign all the contracts, right? And buy all the cars and the technology. take it easy. Let's wait for Mercury to clear the shadow, early January, right? Walk, don't run. But do know that the truth could be coming to the surface. We could be gaining more clarity. We can feel a little bit less delays and miscommunications, or feel like we're not able to get to the words, like they're on the tip of the tongue. That should subside. After that full moon at 1:02 a.m., the moon does square Neptune. So just keep in mind, full moon could be a celebratory social energy. Square to Neptune can sometimes be overdoing energy. The moon will be void from 6:32 a.m. until it enters its rulership of Cancer at 11:22 a.m., which is a time to really anchor into your home environment, into your sanctuary, honor like domestic bliss, burn a fire, light a candle, get a derpy deer, right? Like honor the traditions or the things that just make you feel at ease or cozy. We still have this full moon intensity kind of in the air, and the energy of the Cancer moon asks you to really ground yourself, anchor yourself, make yourself feel at home. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I strive for collaboration rather than competition. With Venus in Aquarius, it's important to see where it is that we can come together. And with the opposition to Mars in Leo, there sometimes can be stories around our ego and our pride and wanting to prove ourselves. But again, if you were to really sit down, Casey and Augustina, if you were to really sit down around the people that you feel like you're in competition with, we likely have more in common than we do differences. And a lot of times people who are nasty, vicious, not saying you have to be besties with them, but a lot of times that comes from a very hurt place themselves. Like hurt people. And people who are at battle with themselves, Mars retrograde, will try to pick a battle with you, right? Because there's something about you that is triggering them, inflaming them. Like who knows? Like there's something about Augustina that makes Casey feel deeply insecure, which is why she picks apart everything that she does. So it's important before we get involved in things that have nothing to do with us. Like it really has nothing to do with Augustina. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with Casey, honestly. It's a bigger story. But it's really seeking where it is that we can collaborate, where we could bring things together. There's enough nastiness and viciousness in this world. We don't need to add to it. Maintain your own happy snow globe. Put loving kindness out into the world, even if you're having a challenging connection with somebody. Again, there are people who do not have great intentions out in this world, but sometimes even just mentally sending them thoughts of loving kindness does shift the dynamic. Even if this is someone who has been a nemesis, has been a competitor, that would be another challenge that I would say this week, is see where it is that you can send them loving energy. Because when you send other people loving energy, you are putting that out into the world to be brought back to yourself. When you send out vicious, jealous, angry energy, you're binding yourself to that as well. So just being mindful of that. I'm not saying we have to hold hands and all sing in a circle, but I am saying notice where it is that we can come together and support one another. Because, you know, it's hard enough out here, okay? We've got Mars retrograde. It's hard enough out here. So my loves, if you made it to the end of the forecast, go ahead and comment below the deer emoji. Shout out to the derpy deer for being our Magic Monday co-host this week. My Instagram handle is at Haley Comet Astrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. A reminder, keep an eye on my channel for 12 Days of Cosmos if your sign has not come up. I'm having so much fun with this series. I'm so overjoyed to be able to bring it back for you all. I may have bit off a little bit more than I can chew this Mars retrograde, but I feel like I can do it. I feel like I can chew it. It makes it easier when it's something that you genuinely love to do, which is, I genuinely do love to do this. And this is my way of giving back to you all. I just want to thank you for another amazing year here in the Cosmic Corner. I know it's not the end of the year, but it's the last Mercury retrograde of the year. So let me be sentimental. But until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.